Hi everybody, Levi here, and I'm back again for another guitar lesson. And as with the last several lessons, we are going to be exploring and taking the triads that we've been looking at and taking them, a little bit further. Today we're looking at triad pairs. Now this is kind of, I'd say very much a concept that you'll see often in jazz improvisation, but it's also it's a tool that we can use, if you like, to practice our visualization of the triads that we have been practicing. And you'll also be able to find some wonderful, wonderful vocabulary found within these ideas. So the concept is very simple. We're going to look at a pair of triads. In this particular lesson, we're going to focus on F major and G major. And then I'm going to give you a series of exercises that are going to be great for both your picking technique and also your practice of your visualization of these triads. So before we begin, let's quickly and very briefly discuss what a triad pair is. Well, a triad pair, very simply, would be when we would take any two triads and play and improvise around those two triads. So if I take an F and a G, we can play melodies around those triads, and they form, I'm not necessarily going to say profound melodies, but let's say they form very focused sounds, and that's what we're really looking for. If you want to bring a little bit of focus into your improvisation, triad pairs are a wonderful, wonderful way of doing that. Now, if you delve into the theory behind this a little bit, triad pairs are great for creating a certain sound. What you're really doing is you're superimposing different sounds over the top of a bass harmony, if you like. So if you were playing over an F major chord, if you play an F and G major triad against that, well, your F is very much going to sound like an F because it is an F over an F chord. We're going to have the root, the third, and the fifth of that F chord. But as soon as you play that G major triad, that's no longer the root, the third, and the fifth of the F chord that you're playing over, right? Suddenly you are playing the ninth of F against that F chord. Suddenly you're playing the sharp 4 of F against that F chord. And we're playing the sixth of F against that F chord. So when we alternate between these two triads, it has a really nice sound because we're playing with a pool of intervals, if you like, and it creates a really cool Lydian sound. So that's something that I'll use when I'm improvising over a major chord. If I need a Lydian sound, I know that I can play a triad pair, two major chords a tone apart, starting on that first chord. I appreciate that this is getting a little bit complicated theoretically, so we'll move on to a context that you can probably use this stuff over. So we're going to use this in a Dorian context. We're going to use this over a D minor chord. Anytime there's a minor vamp, I will use this triad pair concept, if you like. So over our D minor, anytime I'm playing over D, I will move up to the minor third of D, so in this case it's F, and I will play these two triads. Right, so theory out of the way, this is going to all work over a D, it will sound wonderful, you'll enjoy it, I promise. So what we need to do is we need to practice and see how I'm visualizing these F and G triads. Now in previous videos I've talked about these basic caged voicings, right? This would be our C shape. My little finger is on F, the root note of the 8th fret, and then on top of that I have, I'll call out the fret numbers, 8, 7, 5, 6, and then 5. And these smaller 3-note triad groupings are all contained within that chord voicing. And each one of these, I think of these as being harmonic voicings. And what I mean by that is you can play them as a chord. Of course, you could play an F major triad like this, but you can't play all three of those notes at the same time because two of them are on the same string. So this voicing allows me to play all three notes either as a melody or as a chord. And I like those. It helps with my visualization. So just working with F and G, well, if F is here, then G will be a tone higher. So going between those two is as simple as taking the first voicing and and then moving that up a tone. Now here's the key part, we jump back to the previous voicing, but go to the next inversion. And then move up a tone. If you wanted to continue using those shapes, we go back to our previous voicing, play the top voicing. And then you could continue F, G, F, G. You get the idea. So what I'm going to do now is present you with a roadmap. I'll keep going blah blah. That's the thing with live lessons, right? I will present you with a roadmap of going through these voicings that we're going to use for these exercises, these melody ideas. So we're going to take F like this. That's 8, 7, and 5. We'll take G as 10, 9, and 7. We'll then move to the next string set, 7, 5, and 6. Move that up a tone. We will then take 10, 10, and 10. This is an F major triad, comes out of the A shape. And then 12, 12, and 12. And then from there, we'll jump up to the next string set, 10, 10, and 8. We'll then take 12, 12, and 10. We'll stay on that string set, move up, play 14, 13, and 13. And then move that up a tone. So first up, you're going to want to practice that little movement. Very simple. You're going to want to be able to visualize that well. Each time I'm doing that, I'm thinking F, G, F, G, F, G, F, G, F, G. Right. Once you have that underway, it's then about using basic picking ideas to go through those. So the first exercise is going to be a simple rhythm where we're going to play 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. We're going to ascend through each one of these triads. So 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. You get the idea. Down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Looking at my picking there, I go down, up, down. Now when I do that rest, my hand still comes back up. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. You can see the motion there. I changed my position, sorry. We can come down. Of course, I'm just playing more positions right now. You get the idea. So there's our first exercise. Da da da, da da da, da da da, da da da. That's relatively easy because we're really taking a 4-note idea, but the final note is a rest. Note, 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 rest. Note, 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 rest. Note, 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 rest. This works because the triad has 3 notes, and putting that rest in there means we can play it against 4. So hopefully you can see where we're going to go with this. The next step will be to take that same idea, 1 and 2, but we're not going to put the rest in. So we're going to be playing 3 notes, 1, 2, 3, and then moving to the next one immediately. So no rest, no. We're going to be playing. Now, again, consistent alternate picking here. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So there's our exercise. Now take this as slow as you need it to be. You get the idea. So that's a nice little exercise, and it sounds to my ears a little bit more musical than playing because we're pushing against the beat, we're fighting that beat. Instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're playing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And that fights the beat a little bit. That's definitely pretty fun. So we want that basic idea to be comfortable before we move on. Now, when you are comfortable with that, the next fun thing to do would be the same triad voicings. Again, I keep making all these little changes, but instead of ascending, why don't we try descending? Definitely a little trickier to play, right? But a nice challenge, and we like challenges. Challenges are good for us. So when you're comfortable with that, you might move up one and down the next, right? You might go Now, of course, I mixed those up a little bit, some ascending, some descending. I'm looking at adding some sort of unpredictability to my lines, right? So those would be the first two patterns that you're going to want to look at. Now, after you've done those, we can move back to the world of 4, but with repeating notes. So the first sequence you might want to play here would be to start on the high note. Try and play the right string, Levi. Starting on the high note, come down to the low note, and ascend. So our sequence is this. Now I can move to the next triad. And we can just work on that, get comfortable with that. Again, good alternate picking. If you start going into the world of trying to economy pick these, you can do it, but what you tend to find is your rhythm tends to fall apart. And I like ideas like this because I think they're great for rhythm. I think they give a real nice rhythmic solidarity to your lines when you alternate pick them. So yeah, although I am very much an economy picker in terms of what I find most comfortable, the benefits that you'll get from alternate picking here really can't be, understated. So now if I take that sequence through the entire series of triads, we have and that's quite nice, right? I've actually just ramped the action higher on this guitar to record my latest book. So my action is so high now I can get my 2.75mm pick underneath my strings between the frets. So it's a real struggle to play this guitar. So I'm missing notes left, right and centre. So I apologise for that. Make sure you're more accurate than I am when you do this. So. Getting carried away as usual. So that's our next sequence: high note, low note, and ascending. Another sequence you might want to play: start on the low note and ascend, and then play the middle note again. That's a nice little challenge, right? It's a visualization challenge. It's about thinking of these two chords, these two sounds, if you like. So with those under your belt, it's then about mixing the two together. Now you can go real deep on this. Gary Campbell has a wonderful book called Triad Pairs. He also covers the concept in his expansions book. These are both great resources for more of this stuff. But if I mix them up, we might have something like this. Try that again now. Yeah, that's kind of fun. A little bit trickier to pull off unless you're planning an actual line. And then the final idea that you might do with this is mixing these 4-note sequences, 4 fingers, Levi, 4-note sequences and the 3-note ascending ideas. So we might play something like that's 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I played 4 notes there. One more time. And of course, strict alternate picking there, right? Messed it up again. Of course, I'm thinking D minor when I'm doing all of this, right? So that gives you a lot to work on, Now, as one final idea, this is less of an exercise and more to show you how far you can take this concept. Now, in these videos, in these triad videos, I've talked about these closed voice triads, but we often forget that you can open all of these triad voicings up. Instead of playing this, you might play this. These are all open voice triads. They sound wonderful, right? Now, these are, of course, something that you have to learn, you have to practice, but when you apply this concept, these open-voiced triads to this triad pair stuff, you end up with some, I don't know, it's hard to describe. It's sort of like Eric Johnson, but on steroids. This tricky. But technically, they're very difficult to play. But they sound great to my ears. From me. Right, so there's your exercise for the day. It's a triad pairs concept, taking the voicings that you know and confidently being able to move between these. You can get nuts with this. We've just dealt in 2 major triads that are a tone apart, but you can really explore this stuff. You'll look at Gary Campbell's book, you'll find the concept of the tritone scale, wonderful sound. That's 2 major triads, a tritone apart. It gives you this really cool really cool sound, and that's 2 major triads to tone apart. So the more you explore this, the more concepts you're going to find. But first of all, you have to get better at visualizing those 2 triads. So tons and tons of stuff for you to work on in there. I hope you enjoy it. It's something that a lot of my students have been having to work on this last month. So now it's your turn. Get to work on that one. Lastly, I just want to say a huge thank you to some of my supporters. Well, a lot of my supporters over on Patreon. These guys keep these lessons coming to you. So you can support me over on Patreon for as little as $1. Link in that description below. And of course, if you don't want to do that, you can also check out one of my books on Amazon. Just search for Levi Clay. I'm sure you will find something that you enjoy, or at least I hope you'll find something that you enjoy. And finally, if you'd like to check me out on Patreon, you can do so by clicking this button up here. You can subscribe by clicking this button down here, and you can see 2 more of my videos here and here. As always, if you have any questions, please do hit me up in that comment section below. I'm here to help you guys. So much love, and I will see you for another video soon. Laters.